So here we are again with a fresh Tarkov wipe right around the corner. And today I've made up a list of some tips that streamers use to get the fastest possible start in a Tarkov wipe. And you'll have to trust me, it's not as simple as just playing a lot. There is a method to the madness. Alright, to start with, let's talk about how to efficiently get more XP out of your raids so you can level up faster. Every time you get a kill, you'll receive about 100 XP for it. For PMCs, that's about double, but I specifically want to focus on AI here. In the future, instead of mag dumping every AI you see in the thorax, if you take the time to land headshots on them, then you'll actually double the XP you get. I got on screen here that hopefully you can see is me wiping Sharla and his guards, and I actually got an extra 3,900 XP, which is more than I got for just taking them out in general. So instead of seeing AI as just a waste of time or just something you need to kill for quests, try to use them as sort of an XP farm, because eventually in the long run you'll get your trader levels higher faster. Another thing that is worth getting in the habit of doing is while you're looting, if you find an item that you don't want on a container or body, I still suggest that you add it to your backpack and then just discard it after. The reason for that is you'll get a small amount of XP for doing that. Over time this will eventually stack up to hundreds of XP, and it will also level your attention and search skill, which will allow you to loot faster in the future. And the last thing I want to mention about being more efficient with your XP is if you're injured upon an extract or die during a raid, don't use the therapist to heal. Instead, have a grizzly ready in your stash and use that to heal after a raid, because you'll get a bunch of healing XP after. Moving on to the second tip, and that's to use the good gear you find and invest in your survival. I want a show of hands in the comments of how many people have had that Altyn, that Meta M4 or Sig Spear sat in their stash since the early days of wipe, just collecting dust. This stage of wipe is hands down the best time to use that level 6 armor, those meta guns and that meta ammo. That's when they're going to have the most substantial impact. Later in the wipe, you're more likely to encounter someone that has the tools to counter that better gear. Gear fear is a big thing for everyone. Everyone's gone through it at some point, and there's no magic pill to just simply get rid of it. The only way to truly enjoy and experience Tarkov and all it has to offer is to just throw yourself out there and learn from your experiences. I promise it gets better with every raid. Before you know it, you'll be playing Tarkov carefree. There's not just gear fear though. A lot of people are scared to spend their rubles during early wipe. Like I mentioned earlier, investing in your survival by buying stims, better equipment or weapons will give you that extra edge over people. Some examples being buying a bigger bag to haul out more hideout and quest items, or purchasing a few stims like Pro Tool or ETG stims. All these will help increase your chances of the raid going in your favor. And just a quick extra tip for early wipe is one thing that I like to have on me at all times is an SJ12, as this stim gives you food and water for 600 seconds. We've all had that one raid where we've ran out of food or water and died as a consequence, which really sucks during early wipe, and having this stim on you literally makes that impossible. Just a quick one before we moved on. Thirdly, let's talk about how upgrading your hideout as fast as you can is really important to your progression. Not only can it be used as a money printing machine early on, but a lot of stations have really important perks or uses. Like for example the library, which gives you a 15% extra raid XP and an additional 30% level gain on all practical skills. Or the air filter, which gives you an insane 40% boost to your physical skills like strength and endurance, which will allow you to get max strength and endurance a hell of a lot faster than usual. Additionally, the hideout has a lot of crafts in its various stations that can be pretty important, whether that's for barters, crafting better ammo, or more importantly, crafting quest items. Like seriously, some of the things you can craft will save you a bunch of time instead of farming them in raid. Not to mention, we'll also do some pretty big extra hideout stations in this wipe, so I imagine they'll have some extra perks that you're probably going to want to have. And the fourth thing I want to talk about is prioritizing your survival. Let me explain. So I know a lot of you are going to be watching streamers and YouTube videos of them basically taking on the entire server and killing 4 or 5 mans and coming back from the brink of death. In reality, if you've taken a big break from Tarkov, you're going to struggle to do this. So don't be afraid if you're coming back, or if this is how you play usually, is to play a bit slower. You don't have to chat around and take on every single PMC that you see just because you see some streamers doing it. There's absolutely no issue of you hearing somebody or seeing somebody and just completely avoiding them. Or even if you're in a fight, there's no shame in running away from that, because at the end of the day, surviving that raid in Tarkov is far more important than going for some kills. Earlier in the wipe, your raids usually will last longer, so if you spend all raid looting and doing some quests only for you to do a silly push on a guy and die, that's kind of just like a wasted hour down the drain. So even I, early wipe, will just avoid most of the PvP and just focus purely on quest progression and other things. And let's let's be honest, 1 or 2 days into the wipe, what are people really going to have that are going to be that worth it apart from their AVS rigs and MDRs or AKs and stuff like that? It's really not worth PvP in early wipe. The next big piece of advice that I'd like to give is to avoid putting your time and effort into tasks that have no further progression to them. These are essentially dead-end tasks, as there's no other tasks that come after them. A prime one being Stir Up, where you have to get 3 PMC kills while using a pistol. This is a pretty challenging task, so people usually put a lot of time and effort into this and usually do factory runs, and they'll more often than not end up in death, which is a big time waster. People usually sink a lot of effort into this, and it's completely pointless because there's no other task that comes after it. So before going all out on the task, it's worth researching on the wiki if it is worth your time and has any follow-up quest lines after it. Of course, there's some tasks that have dead ends to them but are required for Kappa and other things like that, but a lot of those you can just do while doing other tasks at the same time, so it's not worth focusing your time on dead end tasks. So yeah, the long story short is to use the Tarkov wiki to make sure that maining a task is worth it now or later. And the fifth thing I want to talk about is utilizing Tarkov's Arena mode. Now that Arena and main Tarkov is now linked together, you can actually use it to boost your main PMC's level and stats up. I've seen multiple people now with fresh accounts who have only played Arena get to level 15 and unlock the Flea and get level 2 traders before even touching the main game. I recognize that that's not going to be everybody's preferred way of playing, but for the people who don't really like losing this stuff early on and just want to get to the Flea and have a bit of fun, this is definitely something you can do earlier on. We're all going to find out how this impacts the main game because it's going to be the first wipe where this is actually possible. So we'll just have to sit tight and see how this plays out. Also, if you're out of touch with Tarkov PvP, I'm not sure how the Arena servers are going to work while Tarkov's main game is wiping. Hopefully Arena will still be up. But if you're out of touch with any Tarkov PvP, try and give it Arena a go to get yourself back into the groove of how Tarkov plays out. And that's pretty much it. I'm definitely going to be away for most of Tarkov's early wipe because I'm away with work for a while. I'm myself are going to be pretty eager to get back onto the wipe, so let me know how your wipe is going down in the comments below. Appreciate everyone clicking on this video and watching through it. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like and the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.